Alright, next up we have the gradient text, background, and block quote. So here's the gradient text here, here's the block quote, and then the background is here on the platform page. So let's start with the gradient text, and let me go ahead and open up this about page here. So I've made it pretty easy to apply this gradient to a title text, for example. Basically right now, if I inspect this, I have a gradient header H2 and it's going to have this. So, for example, here in the text module, in the CSS class, there's gradient header. If I take this out, then this goes away. So let me go ahead and cut that, save it. So then it's just a regular color, and you can go in and you could set that color in your CSS, or you could highlight that color and change it with the color thing here. But if I put that back in, then the gradient header happens for H2s only, heading 2s only. So if this was set to, let me go ahead and, if I change this from an H2 to an H3, it's not gonna do it. Or an H1, for example. It's not going to do it. Let me go ahead and refresh this page, and let's see how we can change this color. So I'm going to inspect it. And it looks like around line 44 here is where it's happening. So let's go into our code and go up to line 44. And there we go. I guess it is doing it on the entry titles, H1 entry titles. That's probably the blog posts, I would say, once you click into them. Yeah, so they're happening there too. So I'm going to show you how to apply it to this if you want, since we already have them here, and then how to change the color. So first things first, if I wanted to also, so it's automatically doing it on a single blog post page, it's automatically doing it to the title here. If I wanted to make that for here as well, I would just inspect this, and it's H2 class entry title. H2 class entry title. Okay, so I could pretty much just copy this and then put a comma and then just change this to H2 entry title, save it, select all, copy, go over to the theme CSS and update. Now again, if you're hopping in this series from in the middle, watch the first video first. It's very important. It talks about why my setup here is different and how your CSS is going to be under Appearance Editor here. Okay, so we just made that change. I'm going to shift refresh, and you can see now that all these titles have gradients, which is actually pretty nice. Maybe I should have done that by default, but I'll leave that in this one. Actually, I have to take that out because it's not in the. Actually, I'll leave it in. Maybe it'll at least get pushed out in the next update. So to change this, as you can see, it's all. There's a couple things that are happening. Number one, we're setting a fallback color because not everyone honors this. I think Firefox does now, but I'm pretty sure that some other browsers don't. But Firefox does now. That's good news. Other browsers do not. So for some other browsers, like older versions, it's not going to do. Oh, I'm on the wrong one here. Okay, I have too many of these open. There we go. Inspect this one. Okay, so, wow, it's not letting me. There we go. So on other browsers, it's going to do this. it's going to fall back to this color up here, which is blue. And that color is being set right here. This color right here is the fallback color in case the browser doesn't support gradient. So let's say if I was going to change this, let me go ahead and grab this. If I was going to change this to a different color, say like from orange to like a red color, then I would also want to, let me copy this, I would also want to change this fallback color to probably like the same orange, which you could, something like that. Yeah, okay, so let me go ahead and save, select all, copy that, paste it in here. Oh, okay, and then shift refresh. And there we go. Now we have our orange to red. And if that's not going to work, then it's going to fall back to the orange color that we set. And let me see if that did that anywhere else. Yeah, it's going to do it. I just changed it for all of them, so it's going to even do it on this page. It's going to change it for this Divi builder. Yep. Okay, I'll leave that for now. The other thing is the block quote, which is right up here. So the block quote, here's the settings for that. And I'm just going to go ahead and grab the same background that we just did and put it under this one, so it'll honor that one. Now you'll see if I save this and copy it and put it in, it's going to do it on the block quote, but it's missing this border here. So on that border, what you'll want to do is you want to take this orange color we set earlier and go up to the border color and change that too. Copy, come over here, put this in. We don't need that open. Oh, it'll stay on there. There you go. You can see, and it looks like the color's not quite right, so you could inspect this border color here and get it to where get it to where it's closer to the color that you really want. Something like that. And then you could take that value and put it in there. So that's how you do the title and the block quote. I'm going to go ahead and resave that. And then for this background here, I'm going to go ahead and open up this platform page. Okay. So let me go ahead and close that. Yep, I'll leave that. And the blog page, we don't need that anymore. Of course, if you change these colors here, you'll want to go in and inspect this color. And looks like it's just using the general link color in the theme options, so you'll want to change that in the Divi theme options. But we don't need that there. And same thing with the search button too. That's in the code here as well. 584, you got a background color here, and I'm sure on hover 25, okay, 584. I'm sure on hover there's going to be some, yeah, hover background color there. There's the search submit color, and then here's the hover color. So, and plus you see some other, there's some other stuff riddled throughout here. Like here's a whole button section here that, well, that just does padding. But as you can see, by using, if you right click on something and you inspect it, and it says something like this, a color, and just says index, it doesn't have any style.css, that usually means it's set in the Divi builder. Or let me inspect this here. Like right here, this font size, under 981, it says index. That's all set in the builder there, or either the builder or the theme customizer. So if you go change the colors of this theme, there's several places you got to do it. All right, so this platform, I'm going to come down here to that section, which is this section right here, custom development and button divider. If I click on this section settings, you'll see that it's probably set to 0 and probably no background color here. I do have this half image text 2-column switch selected. The 2-column switch is what I was talking about when they stack. Normally this would be reversed. The section on the left would be at top and this section would be underneath. But because of that 2-column switch, if I change this to 2-column switch, put the S on the end, that's what it normally does. It normally does this, where it takes this part stays, this part on the right drops underneath. So that's an option. Or you can keep the 2-column switch in there, which will switch them like so. So that's that. And then half image text. Let's go find out what that's doing. Half image text. Let me come up here and just find half. All right. Okay. On mobile, normally an empty section like this that just has a divider would be hidden. But we want this picture to show, which is actually our background for column 2. That's actually our background image. So without that, we'll go ahead and change that class too. Without the half image text class here, and I'll just add an S to the end, or a 1 or something. Here it doesn't do anything, but once I get down to mobile, it thinks, oh, there's only a divider there, so it just hides it. But then again, if you bring back that half image text, it's going to show it, and it's showing a minimum height of 500. You could change this to 400 or 300 to make it skinnier. However you want to do. I've set it to 500. I feel that it's about right. But that's what this is right here. That's what that value is there. Okay, so back to what we're really working on here. This background here. So if I click in on the row, you'll see the first background color, we've set a fallback blue or purple color. But if I go to my custom CSS, scroll down to column 1, main element, it's setting the background image here. And so again, we'll go ahead and go to our CSS-matic gradient generator. And I'm just going to load in a sample. Let's try. I really don't like these samples that much. That one looks pretty nice. I'll go ahead and copy this one. And well, first I need to copy that so I can save it. So let me do a new file here. Let me go ahead and copy this and put that in my new file. That way I don't lose it. Okay, now I'll go back and grab this text. Come back in here and just paste this in. Update the page. And there's our new. Now I need to go in and edit the button so the text matches this blue. And what I do, Chrome has an extension, like a color picker extension here. So what I usually do is I come about right here, or sometimes in the middle of the section, or somewhere in here, pick the color, it copies it, and then I can go in to the button and I could change it. Let me go ahead and cut this one, leave that one there. There we go. There we go, looks much better. Voila, that's how you change the gradient. So then you could just go in here and make this color something crazy like so. And it looks like I can change the direction too, like that. Let's do that. But first I gotta go paste my color value for that button. There we go. Alright, now I'm going to copy this text, come back here, back to this section in my custom CSS where I pasted that code before. Here it is. Let me grow that out. Get rid of that, paste this new in, new code, update. Yeah, not my cup of tea, but that looks pretty good. The only problem is when the gradients are really different like that. Let me pull this in. Sometimes the button color, well, this one it works, I guess, because the button color still stays in the blue section. So actually that works. Sometimes this color can bleed in and then it kind of looks weird having the button text color be solid, but there's really not much you can do about that. Alright, so I'm going to go back in and put this back how it was. I'm going to change my button color back to what I had. That's why I grabbed this guy. Let me go ahead and cut that and paste it. And then I'm going to go to the row and back in here and re-put. I'm going to select all this, get rid of that, and re-put in this guy, copy. Actually, I can just cut it and not save that. I was just using it to hold the code. Update. Boom, back to normal. That's how we change the gradient color of this background with this button. It's also how we change the gradients here and the block quote, which I need to go in and redo that. So let me go ahead and find the block quote real quick. So get rid of that, get rid of this, and then our gradient text. Get rid of that. I think, oh, and the fallback color. I think that's it. Copy all that. Now you see why I have that backup CSS file. And sometimes I'll make other backups along the way. Like if I've done a lot of work and I know that I want to, like right now, if I had made changes to the top bar color up here like we did earlier, I made changes to this button, this rhombus thing, I made changes to all that. And then I messed up changing the, this gradient. If I go back to my backup file, it's going to reset everything. So every once in a while, I might save different CSS files after I do something. I don't know why that opened up there. So it's not uncommon to be like arrow, arrow and then a feature.css or arrow and the time of day or something like that. So yeah, that's going to be enough for this video, and in the next video I'm going to go over how to change the features. Let me go back to the home page here. I'm going to go over how to change these features, hover, glow color there, and also the blog grow color. We'll see you there.